I still question why all those critics that tore apart Dawn of Justice during its theatrical release, why so few of those same critics didn't review the Ultimate Edition. Why so few of them didn't go back to discuss the R-rated cut of Dawn of Justice? 30 more minutes, which many felt was a more complete film than the original cut. Is Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice Zack Snyder's greatest achievement? By his standards, it's tough to say, though many would argue Watchmen to be his greatest achievement as a filmmaker. Nonetheless, the amount of hard work he puts into every scene, the amount of depth that is displayed in his narratives, such as Dawn of Justice, is one of the many reasons why I feel it best to discuss Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice 2 years later. Because unlike some, I for one feel Jesse Eisenberg deserves more credit as Lex Luthor.
But wait, Josh Samuel, Jesse Eisenberg doesn't look like Lex Luthor.
In an almost ironic Henry Cavill critique, I feel so many focused on how he was quote-unquote unlike the Lex Luthors of the past that some were unable to focus on the genius behind his plan to get to Superman. How everything he laid out, everything Lex set in motion, pretty much brought about Batman dueling Superman, and even Superman's death. In spite of Lex not looking like Michael Rosenbaum from Smallville, and in spite of Lex not resembling an older gentleman wearing a suit in Dawn of Justice, he was still able to do all that he intended. I was one of the many initially skeptical of Ben Affleck portraying Batman, but Batman v Superman left me wanting a lot more of Ben Affleck playing Batman. Having seen the film multiple times, I personally felt he comes across as the businessman Bruce Wayne and crime-fighting Batman a lot more believably. Looking at this man's demeanor and when he says things like, 20 years in Gotham, Alfred, how many good guys are left? How many stayed that way? Makes me feel like this man, this Bruce Wayne person, is a guy who has been dealt some heavy-handed blows, like losing Jason Todd, but also a guy who has also handed out countless blows to criminals when he suits up as Batman. Whether it's scenes like the one where he saves the little girl from the falling building piece in the movie's opening moments, and even when he's showing no mercy to thugs in warehouses and thugs in Dodge Chargers, this Batman is not one to be fucked with. We like to look at a guy like Batman as a hero who uses fear as one of his tactics to scare his enemies. However, Dawn of Justice displays Batman as a vengeful, merciless man determined to get Superman by any means. So not only is Lex Luthor an antagonist of Batman v Superman, you also have Batman being a threat as well. So when you have individuals online saying that Batman doesn't kill people, but he does it in this movie, I once again say that Batman has killed countless times in movies and games alike. It makes zero fucking sense to complain about Batman killing in Dawn of Justice when he's ran guys over and knowingly or unknowingly caused Harvey's death in The Dark Knight, for example. I say to those same individuals, ask yourself, were you in Batman's position and were you presented with the task of going up against Superman, how could you handle the conflict without some deadly consequences? Because I guarantee not many of us could handle it at all. Of course, this movie is still very much Superman's film. Though it is shown from both Batman and Superman's point of view, it is a sequel to Man of Steel, evidenced by Dawn of Justice's opening moments. Like I stated in a previous video, this movie made me go back and stumble across some things I hadn't initially noticed with Man of Steel, and truth be told, made me further appreciate Superman as a character. To me, while Man of Steel was more about can Superman exist in the human world, Dawn of Justice begs the question of what is Superman. There's so many scenes involving Superman in Dawn of Justice that I love, such as the Superman question scene, the scene in the mountain with Jonathan, and his rooftop sequence with Lex. His scenes with Martha are endearing as well. There's a scene where she tells Clark to either be their hero, be anything they need you to be, or be none of it. And having said that, I want to shout out all the incorrect and so-called straw man goofballs that claim that Jonathan and Martha told Clark to not be Superman. But anyway, in terms of Superman, Superman has to deal with quite a bit himself, not only as a result of his battle with Zod, but also with him being Superman and him being a reporter for the Daily Planet. There are so many fascinated by the idea of Superman, but so many others like Lex Luthor who despise him. So many are disturbed at the thought of Superman being super that it ends up causing chaos and a tug of war between those who see Superman as a man just trying to do the right thing as opposed to an alien with powers. And this adds to the already present conflict of the film with Batman wanting to end Superman permanently. And I think for both Superman and Clark, one of the things I respect about Man of Steel and Dawn of Justice is that both Clark and Superman are still growing. Superman is still trying to figure out being Superman, and Clark is still trying to balance all of this and lead a normal life. So as opposed to the can't do no wrong, perfect Superman of before, we instead get a character that is still learning. A character that is still growing and still trying to find his way. Gal Gadot's superstardom came about as a result of her being cast as Diana Prince, aka Wonder Woman. While she isn't in the film as much as her counterparts, she still makes the most of her time and has some scene-stealing moments, such as her hard-to-forget crack of a smile when she jumps back in to continue fighting Doomsday. Her scenes with Bruce are arguably the best, but seeing the Trinity finally come together to face Doomsday still brings a smile to my face each time I watch the film. The movie has many religious undertones, though most of them are impossible to miss. And as a result of great screenwriting and great directing, Zack Snyder's Dawn of Justice has many great quotes. Like the scene involving the line, "Men with power obey neither policy nor principle," or Lex telling Senator Finch that the oldest lie in America is that power is innocent. Martha telling Clark people hate what they don't understand. Bruce telling Diana men are still good. So many great quotes and so many that cause me to think and realize how truthful they are and how majority of them are a reflection of our own society. Once again, a credit to Zack Snyder and Chris Terrio for incorporating realism in the movie. And of course, visually it looks great, but even the music, God. The music is so just really well done. Not only does the music draw me in as a viewer, it helps to keep me invested in the movie itself. I can personally feel the swift change of emotions with every tune being played in a certain scene. Hearing the callbacks to Man of Steel and Dawn of Justice are always exciting, and Hans Zimmer certainly deserves his credit for how well he handled the movie's soundtrack. Now, a lot has been said about the Martha scene, but I feel that that scene served its purpose and fit into the movie. For starters, we have to remember that Martha was the thing that stopped Batman from being an unrecognizable part of himself. We have to remember that Martha caused Batman to view Superman in a different light. Were it not for Martha, Batman may very well have ended Superman then and there. And in case you hadn't noticed, especially with the way I started this video, I look at the Ultimate Edition of the film as the true and thorough version of Batman v Superman. Not to knock the theatrical cut, but I feel that the Ultimate Edition is ultimately the better version of the movie, ironically enough. But when I look at Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice overall as a film, even now, 2 years later, I look at it with the same admiration and same regard I had when I first saw the film back in 2016. I see a movie that is a spectacle, a movie that resonates with me not only as a fan of both Batman, Superman, and Zack Snyder, but as a movie fan. And maybe it wasn't the world's finest, maybe it wasn't what some felt it should have been, and maybe the movie is somewhat too much of a thinking man's game for those who were expecting mindless action and frequent humor. But still, so many are still discussing the film, so many still debate and defend the movie, like myself, and yet some want to continue to deny its influence. This movie made me feel inspired by and more immense admiration for Superman as a hero. And for myself, it was without question the best comic book movie of 2016.